हाय व्यूवर्स, माय नेम इज़ दीपक कुमार। आप देख रहे हैं माय यूट्यूब चैनल। लेट्स बिगिन इंग्लिश विद मी। आज मैं आपके लिए लेकर आया हूँ इंग्लिश ग्रामर का मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट आस्किंग क्वेश्चन ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ फिगर ऑफ स्पीच। एक क्लास में आपकी फिगर ऑफ स्पीच बेसिस पहले ले चुका हूँ। आज मैं आपके ऑब्जेक्टिव क्वेश्चन लाया हूँ। सो लेट स्टार्ट विद द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन and the first question is, a figure of speech is a rhetorical figure. Next question, a figure of speech is an intentional deviation from ordinary language for the sake of rhetorical effect. The very next question is, traditionally figure of speech are classified into scheme and tropes. The very next question, figure of speech is sometimes called rhetoric. The very next question is, alliteration may be defined as a repetition of a speech sound in a sequence of a word. ये क्वेश्चन आपका बहुत मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट है। वेरी नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, ओ but I fear the fecal flex is an instance of alliteration. ये भी आपका एग्जाम्पल alliteration का हो गया। The very next question, full phantom 5, thy father lies in an example of alliteration. Very next question, what term is used when repetition of the same word or word at the start of two or more lines? Anaphora. The very next question is, the term used for repetition of a word or phrase as the beginning of successive clauses is anaphora. The very next question is, the figure of speech characterized by the repetition of word or group of words at the beginning of the consecutive sentence is called anaphora. The very next question is, the opposite of anaphora is epistrophe. ये आपका काफ़ी बेस्ट क्वेश्चन है। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, ए लोडिकोरस descending order of the series of idea is the description of anticlimax. ये आपका इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है। वेरी नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, द अदर नेम ऑफ द anticlimax is bathos. The soldier fight for glory and selling a day. Here the figure of speech is anticlimax. Very next question, fair is my love and cruel as she's fair. Her brow shades brown although her eyes are sunny. Her smile are lightning through her pride disappear. These lines show the figure of speech is antithesis. The very next question is, man proposes, God disposes. The figure of speech is here antithesis. Very next question, a man's nature runs either to herbs or weeds. Therefore let him seasonably water the one and destroy the other. The figure of speech is here antithesis. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. The figure of speech is here antithesis. To error is human, to forgive divine. The figure of speech is here antithesis. The very next question, which of the figure of speech has been used in the following line? Even thus, last night and two night more, I lay and could win the sleep by an any still. Apostrophe. The very next question is here. Which figure of speech has been used in the following line? O world, O life, O time. The answer is here apostrophe. The very next question is there rolls the she, where grow the tree, O earth, what changes hast thou seen? The figure of speech used in this line is here apostrophe. The very next question is hell, smiling moon. The figure of speech used here is the answer is apostrophe. The very next question exult, O source and ring, O bells. Here the figure is apostrophe. The very next question is dear come near and fear not is the example of assonance. The repetition of smiling vowel in the stressed syllables of successive word is assonance. The very next question is in which figure vowel sound are repeated? Assonance. The other name of anticlimax is bathos. The very next question is a sudden and ridiculous descent from the exalt to the commonplace and ordinary, especially when a writer striving for the noble or pathetic achieves the ludicrous. This is the best description of the term of a term. This term is bathos. The very next question is it is a grammatical term which refer to the inversion of word order from one clause to another. It is chiasmus. The very next question one should eat to live, not live to eat. And ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country are the example of chiasmus. This rhetorical figure is derived from the Greek term of the letter X for a crossover. It is literary figure in which word, grammatical construction or concept are repeated in reverse order. It is a chiasmus. Consider the statements. This question is lengthy, but I promise that I will give you all best question in this series. So you can see all the statement is here correct. The very next question circumambulation is also known as periphrasis. The very next question climax is a Greek word which signifies a ladder. Climax is a series of ideas in the order of importance, ascending order. The very next question to gossip is a fault, to libel a crime, to slander a sin. The figure is here climax. The best way to learn a language is to speak it. Here the figure is climax. Turning point is climax. It is an inoffensive or indirect expression. It is substituted for one that is considered offensive or too harsh. For instance, someone is no more, it is known as euphemism. Jones is a euphemism for God's wounds. The very next question, speech is silver but silence is gold. The figure of speech is here epigram. The very next question, it is a wise father that knows his own child. The figure is epigram. The very next question, he was a learned man among lord and a lord among learned men. The figure is here epigram. Epigram is a brief saying that ends in witty turn of thoughts. Very next question, epigram is a short witty statement in verse or prose. It may be complimentary, satiric, or epistolic. It is defined as dwarfish, whole, its body, brevity, and wit, its soul. Who defined epigram in this manner? Coleridge. S.T. Coleridge. The very next question, what is the figure of speech in which a statement is made emphatic by overstatement? And the figure of speech is here hyperbole. The line, they were swifter than eagle and stronger than lion, contain a figure of speech, it is hyperbole. 10,000 saw I at a glance. The figure is here hyperbole. The very next question is, meiosis is the opposite of hyperbole. The very next question is, difference between reality and appearance creates, and the answer is here irony. The term for saying one thing and meaning another is irony. The very next question is here, Sophocles' Oedipus the King is a very complex example of tragic irony. The very next question, unstable irony is a type of irony where the author's real meaning is unclear and the reader finds it very difficult to determine whether the author is expressing his real views. The very next question, verbal irony is when someone says one thing but really means something else. The very next question is, an indirect implication is known as innuendo. A tattered coat upon a stick is an instance of metaphor. The very next question is, identify the figure of speech in the following line. The fire of passion made him blind. Metaphor. The very next question is, I see a lily on thy brow, pale with anguish. The figure of speech is here metaphor. The very next question is, he looks smart though he is at the sunset of his life. The figure of speech is here metaphor. Loveliness is young ambition's ladder. The figure is here metaphor. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Which figure is used here? And the answer is metaphor. The very next question is, a metaphor which has been used so long and has become quite common to the extent that we have ceased to be aware of the discrepancy between the vehicle and the tenor. This type of metaphor is a dead metaphor. The very next question is an extended metaphor, which is also known as the conceit or sustained metaphor, referred to is the answer is the author's exploitations of a single metaphor or analogy at length through multiple linked tenors, vehicles, and ground throughout a poem or story. And the very next question is you may address the chair. The figure of speech is metonymy. The very next question from the cradle to the grave, the figure of speech is metonymy. The very next question is all Arabia breaths from yonder box is the example of metonymy. The very next question is scepter and crown must tumble down, and in the dust be equal made with the poor crooked scythe and spade. In this line, the figure of speech is here metonymy. The very next question is friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. Which figure of speech is here metonymy? It is the use of word, its pronunciations intimate, imitates the sound the very word describes. It is onomatopoeia. The very next question is the figure of speech which consists in the use of word which suggest the sense by the sound is called onomatopoeia. Which of the figure of speech is onomatopoeia? Murmuring. Chatter, chatter as I flow to join the burning river. Here is the figure of speech onomatopoeia. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon in front of them, olled and thundered. Here the figure is onomatopoeia. The figure of speech in which two opposite ideas are put together is oxymoron. The very next question is darkness visible is an instance of oxymoron. The very next question our sweetest songs are those that tell of saddest thought. The figure is here oxymoron. The very next question is when the lifeless object and abstract idea are thoughts of as living being, the figure of speech is personification. The very next question is skylord and muttering thunder. Some as drop wept at completing of the mortal sin. Which figure of speech is here? And the answer is personification. The very next question when well appear April on the heel of limping winter treads. Which figure of speech is used here? Personification. The very next question the Greek term prosopopoeia is here also known is and the answer is personification. The very next question is the moon doth with delight look round her when the heavens are bare. Here the figure of speech is personification. The naked every day he clad when he put on his clothes. here the figure is, and the answer is pan. The very next question, simile, metaphor, personification, and apostrophe are the figure of speech which are based on resemblance. The very next question is, she walks in beauty like the night of cloudless plumage and starry skies. The figure is here simile. The figure of speech in which a part is used to show the whole or the whole to a part is synecdoche. Uneasy lies the hand that wears a crown. The figure of speech is here synecdoche. Just for a handful of silver he left us. The figure of speech is here synecdoche. The very next question is, if you don't drive properly, you will lose your wheel is an instance of synecdoche. I am looking for poetry. I see a few Chaucer, a few Shakespeare. What is the special use here in poets' names in the plural? Synecdoche use is here. The very next question is, taunting use of apparent praise for despise is sarcasm. Sarcasm is taken from the Greek verb sarcasm, which means to tear flesh. The very next question is, which is the example of transferred epithet? Dreaming house. The very next question is, pressurized happiness is the example of transferred epithet. The very next question is, useless repetition is tautology. The very next question, tautology is also known as a pleonasm. The very next question is, it is a phrase. It repeat the same words and usually express a banal but unanswerable truth. For instance, it is what it is and what will be will be. It was coined by journalist William Sphere. This phrase is totosphere. The very next question is, totosphere is a phrase or sentence which repeats an idea in the same words. The very next question and the last question in this series, point out the figure of speech in the following line. The plugman homeward plods his weary way, and the answer is transferred epithet. सो ये थे आपके 100 क्वेश्चन ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ फिगर ऑफ स्पीच। आपको ये वीडियो कैसी लगी आप ज़रूर अपने कमेंट में बताइए। माय नेम इज़ दीपक कुमार, आप देख रहे हैं माय यूट्यूब चैनल लेट्स बिगिन इंग्लिश विद मी। प्लीज़ लाइक एंड शेयर माय वीडियो। थैंक यू for the watching this season.